Yo, got in trouble because that shit deep.
What's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, purveyor of all sounds underground. Thank you for joining me on my YouTube channel today, where I'll be discussing the topic of the importance of owning your own content, the business of content ownership in today's dance music industry. But before I jump into things, what I need from you is that SLC. Hit subscribe, like, comment, and more importantly, hit the notifications bell to stay in touch with the new videos that we have up and coming. So before I jump into my points, I want to talk to you about what inspired or spurred the creation of this video. Most recently, if you've been online, you've been seeing a lot of discussion and debates happening based on DJ Sneak's posts, where he openly expressed that he's going to be reclaiming his masters to be able to sell directly on djsneak.com. Now, for myself, and DJ Sneak is a homie, we've collaborated on a number of songs, I wasn't surprised by his indication that that's something he wants to do. In fact, I've been doing the same thing and been having a lot of great conversations with various different labels and being able to attain or get my masters back from previous deals. And it's been good discussion. So I'm going to share with you why there's so much value in pursuing this and how you can go about doing it. So point number one, you've probably seen this in our previous videos where Juan and I were talking about, I think it was a debate on EDM or something, where we said, you know, from a Bill Gates perspective, he wrote a paper on content being king. And nothing is so true today in terms of how he foresaw things. At the start of the pandemic, I immediately knew that it was going to push content creation and ownership on overdrive. And that's exactly what's been motivating me to go out and pursue the ownership of my masters. Because when you own your content, you can package it up in which way that you desire, and you're not really being held to the ownership of your music or content, for that matter, to the decisions or aspirations of somebody else. All right, so point number two, the advantage of owning and marketing and monetizing your own content is the fact that you can immediately reach out and touch your fans or consumers. You know, there's nothing like the intimacy of having conversations with people direct who are supporting you and want to understand why you do the things you do and have a very deep and specific interest in your art and how you're going about creating it, and much less distributing it to them for their enjoyment. So I love that direct interaction, and you can only really get that when you are taking ownership and charge of the distribution and monetization of your content. Point number three. So I recognized early in these conversations that they are sensitive. And the reason why they're sensitive between the label and artist is just the fact that the music or content being created and distributed is an asset. It's how people make money. It's how they benefit from it. And there's other benefits from it that I can rhyme off, but I'm just going to focus on the ownership part. You know, from a catalog perspective, certain labels, depending on the deals they structured with artists, also get the benefit of publishing and having some revenue come in from that, in addition to the direct sale of the product. And it's important as an artist, when you go out and start these discussions with the label, that you think about these things and how it impacts them and what you're willing to do to meet them halfway. So a few of the things that I thought about was just the pure fact of certain labels that I signed music to back in the day had done a lot of promotion to get those tracks out, and in turn have pushed my profile upwards. And I need to recognize the value and, I guess, attraction to that, and understanding that for the label, they might see it as, you know, their direct investment in me individually, as well as the music and content itself. So being sensitive to that, it's important when you enter these discussions, you ask the label what's the impact to them, how you can meet them halfway. And in some cases, you know, I've offered up creative solutions where I've said to a label, who would own my previous masters, where I would do a remix for them in return of them giving my masters back to me. And I came up with other creative things like, instead of telling them to immediately take the songs down, I set out a structured way where we can target the smallest retailer first for all the songs to come down, and then going up to the largest retailer like Beatport and setting a timeline and date to make sure everything is coming down. On the other hand, if you happen to be the label involved in these discussions, it's important you think about this from the artist perspective. And what I generally have challenged labels to do in my particular conversations is to think about, have royalties been issued? Have you done right by the artist? And how much promotion did you really put into the record? And if you're a label where, an artist has approached you saying, hey, I want my masters back because we're in a time of a very impacting pandemic, and we're in a time where there's a lot of technologies available that allow artists to monetize their content, you need to just do right by the artist and think about how you can meet them halfway. And I would even say, if you haven't paid or issued any royalties to any of your artists as the label, this should be a no-brainer for you. You should absolutely give up those masters if you hope to, retain some sort of respectful relationship at the end of it. And regardless of whatever side you're on, always approach this from a fairness perspective, but do not tolerate being disrespected. Okay, and my last and final point is, this is an important pursuit because I just don't think that this is going to go away as a result of the pandemic and artists looking for different ways to monetize their content. I think this is the new norm. We have technologies out there that have now shown artists via the pandemic how much they can actually stand to benefit by putting their music on Patreon, creating exclusive and unique content for those platforms like Bandcamp as well. And I'd even throw YouTube in there. When we started this channel, I think, we were at 500 subscribers. 586 subscribers, and now we are sitting on 2,000 subscribers. So I know the content is providing value to someone out there, and I'm going to continue pursuing this. And as a result, I'm going to monetize on this content. It just makes absolute sense, and it's something that just isn't going to go away. So as a new and aspiring artist or DJ and producer, these are all things that you need to consider in terms of the deals that you are about to sign and the deals that you want to go back to towards converting that content and being able to monetize it in the future for yourself. Much love and respect to you. Peace.